purpose of God's calling.
Amen.
I'm slow of speech. Apparently, it is not a great matter. Actually, this matter, the purpose of God's calling, even by that time was too great. Why? Because the purpose of God's calling was to deliver the children of Israel out of the tyranny of the Egyptians. You just consider Egypt at that time was the top country on this earth. And Pharaoh had the power. And how could a man shepherding the flock in the wilderness for 40 years, and he became so old, 80 years of age, how could such a one be able to deliver the children of Israel out of that kind of it was impossible. Now, on the positive side, to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt, the land of bondage, to Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey. I would say the positive side was harder than the negative side. We all know this. To do things on the negative side, that is always easy. But to do something positively, this is always harder.
Right.
And how could such an old man, living nearly the highest culture for 40 years, living and staying and shepherding small cattle in the wilderness for 40 years, and all of a sudden God said, I just called you and I sent you to deliver my people out of that bondage and bring them forth into a good land. A land good and large, flowing with milk and honey. I feel this was more than a dream. It's just impossible, no possibility. But listen, this was just a type. In actuality, I tell you, what is the country of Egypt? Or what is the power of Pharaoh? I tell you, that is the kingdom of darkness. The nation of Egypt typified the kingdom of darkness, Satan's kingdom of darkness. And Pharaoh signifies the powerful, the mighty, evil one, Satan the devil. Who could deliver God's people out of the hand of such an evil power? Who could deliver people out of the kingdom of darkness? Don't think to preach the gospel is easy. Don't think to save people is easy. Actually, to save a person out of the hand of Satan, out from the kingdom of darkness, I tell you, is the most mighty thing. The most powerful thing. In the New Testament, God's divine revelation never estimates the gospel so low. It always tells us that the gospel that saves us is the power of God. You see, this is the power of God. The purpose of God's calling is not a light matter. It is too great. Not only so, in typology, to save God's people into the good land signifies what? Signifies to bring people into Christ. Not into a doctrine, but into an all-inclusive person, which was typified by the golden large land. And Christ today is just such a goat, a large land flowing with milk and honey. This is too great. Too great. Sorry to say, today, out of 1,000 saved Christians, maybe not 5, even maybe not 3 or 4, have ever been brought into such a Christ. A Christ like the large and goat land flowing with milk and honey. Even today, you check with so many Christian teachers, what does milk here signify? And what does honey here signify? Why God used these two things as signs of the riches of the good land, milk and honey? I tell you, in our human language, in our human speaking, when we talk about some land, probably we don't use this kind of terminology flowing with milk and honey. I think only the divine wisdom can use this kind of expression. Today, among Christians, the matter of saving persons has been made so low and so small and so light. But actually, to save a person is not so low. It's not so light. Right? Now, we come to see the called one. Here, I put out this as the first point, having been dealt with for 40 years. You may see, Brother Lee, but what you can know that Moses was there dealt with. He was used to live in the palace, right? From his first year, and he lived there 40 years in the palace. And all of a sudden, he was put in the wilderness. Now, you were raised up in America. Suppose today you'll be put into a backward country and let you live there. I tell you, from morning to evening, day and night, you will have the sensation that you are there being dealt with. Being dealt with. And I don't know. I like to be a carpenter, to make tables. I feel this is easy. To handle tables, benches, that's easy. But you give me a flock of little ones. It's hard for me. And I do believe it was hard for Moses. And he was taking care of a flock not belonging to himself. It belonged to his father-in-law. Even to lose one of the little cattle might be a great thing. I tell you, you just can't say a little bit. I like to check with you all. Say, Tim, suppose today you're a high schooler and enjoying life so much and so forth. Now we send you to Alaska and give you a little flock, about 120, and charge you to take care of day and night. Would you do it? I tell you, this was a real dealing. He was dealt there. By being dealt with, he got prepared. Even today, sometimes among the elders, some would say, I just cannot do it. Why? Because they don't let me do it. You see? If they let me do it and they stay away, I'll do it better. And you all have to tell me, do let me to do it. If you do, stay away. Let me do it. I tell you, the strange thing is this, God will say, I ask you to do it, but don't do it by yourself. It's hard. I ask you to do it, and you do it by myself. Don't do it by yourself. I tell you, no need to say the elders, even among husband and wife. Sometimes the wife would say, John, do you ask me to do it? Do you mean it? You mean it, right? Stand away. Let me do it. If you stand by, I don't do it. I go to sleep. And I saw some this kind of situation. Right away, John went back. Oh, I go ahead. You do it. I'm a little concerned maybe a number of sisters, wives, are just like this. Are you going to do it, John? Are you? Let me do it. If you let me do it, go. Let me do it. But the divine John would say, I ask you to do it, but do it by me. Then the wife would say, you just killed me. You just killed me. And the divine John would say, that's right. This is my intention. And this is my purpose, to kill you. And here is our problem. I am your husband. I ask you to do something, but not by yourself, but by me. But your problem is that it's just by me, you quit. You resign. Am I right? Look at the situation. That way I can see Paul and Nancy. See, if I would sacrifice them and ask them to stand up and give a testimony, I do believe they will both testify to this effect. And today in the church, the same thing. For years and years, the work of the recovery could not be carried out too much just because of this. Too many Moses, still 35 years of age. And some now 57. Quit. Disappointed. If you contact them, they will say, I got fully disappointed. Never talk to me about the church. If I go to church meeting, I'll be the last one. Sitting at the rear, coming in the last, going back the first. I got tired. I got bored. I know we need the church. I know, but I got bored. 57 and a half years of age. And this dear ones needs another 2.5 years. They'll wait and prepare until we lost our confidence. But don't lose the Lord's burden. Moses, you have been called. You have been called even before you were 40 years of age. You have been called already. And that call was right. And that burden was real. Don't drop that. You cannot drop that. But you have to what? Go along with me. Go along with me, forgetting your ability. I don't use that. I would use you, but not your natural ability. You have to lose your full confidence in yourself. It's not so easy to have a church work. So many dear ones like to take the lead. Let me tell you, it's not so easy. It's not so easy. Anyhow, Moses, he fully realized that he was out of use. He was finished. He was through. He was 80. What can a man 8 years of age do. You see? But just at this time, God charged him to be a sent one. You better read these 2 chapters, 3 and 4. You could find out the word sent has been used at least 4 or 5 times. I sent you. I sent you. I sent you. I don't like you to be a sender, to be an initiator. I like you to be a sent one. You just go to carry out my job. You don't need to do anything.